I got a question. If you could have one heaven phone call. This is a random heaven phone call, okay?
Oh my god, get off of me,
serious.
please. Can I press charges on someone over a video? Because that felt like a crime. JoJo Siwa's in the news. She's had a little bit of a rebrand recently, and it's not going very well. Real quick, just some background in case you don't know who JoJo Siwa is. JoJo Siwa was this child star, huge influencer for primarily young girls, and her whole brand was like family-friendly, over-the-top, infectious joy with like rainbows and bows that were way too big for her head. And now she's 20 and she's trying to go in the complete opposite direction. And it is so incredibly forced and cringe. And if I have to witness it, so do you. So this whole attempted rebrand comes with the release of JoJo's new song, Karma. And it's basically just marketing for that. In the song she says, "I was a bad girl. I did some bad things," which just sounds ridiculously corny coming from JoJo Siwa, but it might be true. I'll get to that a little later though. First off, the look is just diabolical, just to get that out of the way. She's been doing a lot of interviews as part of this sort of press tour for the song, and that's really where the meat of the cringe is.
I wanted to start a new genre of music, and they said, "What do you mean?" And I said, "Well, it's called gay pop."
Gay pop.
Gay pop.
A new music genre invented by JoJo Siwa, apparently. Which, I mean, come on. I feel like half of the Billboard Hot 100 is gay pop.
Is there anyone you kind of take your cues from? Because I mean, we've seen like Miley Cyrus grew up, and we had like Taylor when she did Reputation, those kinds of things.
Honestly, I look at some of the generation above them, Michael Jackson, Prince, Elton, Bowie, they are, and of course Gaga. I mean, take all the inspiration from Gaga, but those people for me that were just not afraid. Elvis was the first to not be afraid to be different.
And JoJo Siwa is next in that list of legends. Truly one of the greats. Something else I found funny is the interviewer mentions Gene Simmons, and she says she doesn't know who that is.
I'm getting like a sexy glam Gene Simmons sea creature going on here.
You know, the amount of references that people have told me I look like in this video that I have no clue what they are is sickening. I'm adding that one to the list, but I'll take it. I heard sexy and I heard sea creature. So
I feel like her dressing like that whilst not knowing who Gene Simmons is really speaks to how disingenuous this whole thing is. And like, she's clearly trying to do the Miley Cyrus thing, right? Transition her career from very family friendly to very edgy and hopefully make a lot of money doing so. But I feel like when Miley Cyrus did it, there was an actual edge there was an authenticity to it, and there is just not a shred of authenticity here. Every time I hear her speak, it still feels like I'm watching an influencer for children. I mean, she says effed in the song. Like, you gotta commit, man. Just wait until I drop that F-bomb, she warns. No, JoJo, don't do it, JoJo, please. Anyways, JoJo has been getting absolutely flamed by the entire internet pretty much these past few weeks.
dream guest on my podcast? Oh my gosh. I mean, honestly, let's spice things up. One of my exes. Oh?
Dream guest on my podcast? Oh my gosh. Honestly, I mean, let's spice things up. One of my exes.
Oh?
JoJo does kind of sound like she's been smoking for 30 years, except it's just from yelling so much. JoJo has responded to the backlash, and she just sounded like a Disney villain.
In the last few weeks, the internet has definitely made me feel like I'm a fucking psychopath. But then I realized something. No. I realized something. I am a fucking psychopath. Number one, they're the reason that it charted before it even came out. And number two, whether people like to admit it or not, karma is a lot of people's guilty pleasure.
Could you imagine being in that audience? There's another clip where it just looks like the interviewer is trying really, really hard not to laugh the entire time.
No one has made this dramatic of a change yet. No one has made, in my generation, this extreme of a switch. And I am the first in the generation. It is very scary, but someone's got to do it.
Someone needs to stop this. Her PR team needs to shut her up or something, because I am not comfortable with JoJo Siwa being the voice of my generation. Something that I've realized pretty quickly is that this rebrand isn't really even a rebrand at all. Like, this is the same person, same outfit, with just a black and white filter over it, basically. No one is convinced that anything has changed about JoJo Siwa. The rebrand is less so an actual rebrand and more so a publicity stunt. And it's working. People are talking about JoJo. Her song is like #1 on TikTok because people are using it in videos of them making fun of her. But I think more than anything, this rebrand is a distraction. Because in February of this year, Rolling Stone published an article that made JoJo Siwa look very bad. And for legal reasons, everything I'm about to say is alleged and or a joke. The article essentially states that the conditions for young girls and their mothers working under JoJo and her mom were not great. And JoJo, the producers of her shows, her mom, mostly her mom, could be very cruel and abusive, and it created a very toxic working environment, allegedly. So I guess JoJo and her mom have this group called XOMG Pop, and they're like super huge, and it's all these young girls that would compete to be in that group, and that was the whole plot of JoJo's TV show. Among other things, this is just 2 examples, JoJo's mom would be kind of verbally abusive during rehearsals, and JoJo would seemingly try to pit the girls against each other and just be rude to them generally. And it was kind of an environment of constant fear and tension. Just kind of standard evil reality TV show stuff. And one of those girls that made it onto XOMG Pop was Leah Sanderson. Leah has spina bifida, and it's basically a birth defect that caused her spine not to grow in properly, which has caused her various health issues. And Leah and her mother had a particularly bad experience working with JoJo and her mom and being in the group. And when Leah's mom raised some of the concerns she had about the toxic environment and everything I just listed to JoJo's mom, Jesselyn, Leah was kicked from the group. And this is after devoting the past few years of their life to being in that group. And that is really fucking sad. And again, everything I just said is alleged. The article says that they had other sources that corroborated Leah and Angie's side, and then other sources that spoke in defense of JoJo and her mom. And that is just a very, very brief overview of the article. The whole article will allegedly be linked in the description to this video. Allegedly. All of this to say, I find the timing of the rebrand suspicious. So, JoJo Siwa is cringe, and also may not be a great person. If anything, I blame her mom, who sounds infinitely worse, allegedly. I just think, when it comes to child stardom, you have to be very careful as a parent, and should probably avoid it as a whole. But I'm only 19, so what do I know? Almost as old as JoJo, actually. Maybe I need a rebrand. I don't know, I'll get a haircut or something, that'll be my rebrand. That's all I got, really. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned, rebrand incoming.